Hello and welcome to our Thanksgiving edition of No Prize Podcast. I am the professor. That's Lucas. Oh, no, that's Johnny. What? No, that's Lucas. What are you doing? And Johnny, hey, how are you guys doing?
When the music stops, you sit down. That's how it works.
There you go. There you go. So, hey, we had a big week this week. We had Wakanda Forever enter theaters. It's now the #1 movie in the world, if you believe the hype.
Well, I mean, it was only the only movie that was kind of worth watching, that was very highly advertised. Um, However, I saw a bunch of movies, and the movie that should have been #1 was this other movie called The Menu, which was a horror movie. But of course, you're not going to see it. Have kids go see it. But
Hmm.
Wakanda Forever. I mean, look, it did what, 60 something million, 70 million in its first week. Now it's projected to do 64 as of Friday afternoon. Projected to do 64 million, which puts it just below the Doctor Strange multiverse movie. Okay,
Wow.
that means it's not a complete failure, but it needs to make it needed to have $100 million weekend this weekend in order to make Disney some money. It's not doing that so far. However, I think a lot of projectors are like off kilter on this because look, oh yeah, don't forget, Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Um,
Hmm.
but Thanksgiving Thursday, right? That's when a lot of people are going to be off work, right? They're going to have time to take their kids out. They're going to have to take the whole family out to go see Wakanda Forever or whatever other movie. The only thing is, it's going to be up against Strange New World, which is another Disney movie. Okay,
I have a quick question,
sir.
just as an
Yes, sir.
aside on that.
Yes,
The
sir.
only people who are off all Thursday are Americans, right? Nobody else has a Thanksgiving Day.
So it
So
actually is right.
that's
So
right.
what I will say that it's actually doing very well internationally. Okay, so far it's made 280 mil at home. I'm talking about in the U.S., but then it's also made like around 150 million international, which is very well. It's just that the sales stuff, which it should be doing home, are right now not good. But also, what you also got to remember is that most Americans get paid on the first of the month and the 15th of the month. They put it out before the 15th of the month. In fact, like a few days before the 15th of the month. So it was when people don't have money, and I know that is a factor because a lot of my friends and family that are in the service industries, they say, "Hey, we haven't had people coming in to this. We haven't had people coming in to get their hair cut. People are just not showing up. They're trying to save their money up for Thanksgiving and into these holiday months." So I think that's a factor when it comes to Wakanda Forever not doing so well. But now, hey, boom, we're on. This is what this is going to be a few days after the 15th. People have saved their money. They're going to have bought their hopefully they bought their holiday dinners already. Hopefully they've got enough cash if we can spend on it. So that is what it is. But right now, let's look to the rest of the panel. What did you guys look? I mean, well, Professor, what did you think before I freaking put my two
So
cents in?
yeah, so I was just thinking while you were talking about that, I was thinking about looking at the box office numbers, and the first thing that jumped out to me was, did the lack of Chadwick Boseman affect? To me, I mean, it seems like the answer is obvious, is yes, right? Um, but then I was also thinking when I watched this movie was there was nobody that they replaced in this movie that could even equal or come close to the level of charisma Chadwick Boseman had on the screen as T'Challa. And the only, and I'm looking at the pictures of the cast there, and I think Angela Bassett is the only one that came close to like having that screen presence and that like commanded the screen that you couldn't take your eyes off her while you were watching the movie. And but she wasn't the main character. So,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
um, so to me, I kind of thought that the just not having Chadwick Boseman or T'Challa, and I'm wondering if maybe a recast might have been more appropriate. But um, I enjoyed the movie for what it was. It was a great introduction to another part of the Marvel universe, I'm going to continue to call it Atlantis, even though it's not Atlantis. It's another underwater city with Namor or Namor, depending on how
Yeah,
you want to
yeah,
pronounce it.
yeah. That was wild. That was wild. Like,
It was funny. So let me tell you from what the minimal contact I have with the Mexican community. One of my best friends is Mexican and saw Wakanda Forever on the first day, and he said that Namor did for him what Chadwick Boseman did for the black community. So I was shocked at that, but I can see it 100%. So I enjoyed the movie for what it was. I liked Shuri. I thought there was a little bit too much Riri for Ironheart. I think there was a little too much of her.
okay,
Not enough focused on Shuri, and then it was a very much more an ensemble cast because I'm sure because they didn't have Chadwick Boseman, so they had to focus more on Okoye and the other members of the cast. So,
right, right.
but
Well,
good story, good story.
right, right. I mean, look, they had to get a few things going. Let's start from there. From,
Yeah.
from my end, they had to get a few things going. They had to kind of address Chadwick's absence, and
Hmm.
they did that. But I think they leaned a little too heavy on that. There was too many of those. Hey, let's slow down the action so we could talk about what happened with this guy and how it affected. There's too much of that. That's what a funeral is for. Okay.
That's kind of what this movie felt like at the beginning and at the end. It was like, and I get it because everybody loved Chadwick Boseman and everybody wanted to give him a proper send off, right?
Mhm.
But Chadwick Boseman was playing a role in this movie, and that's what I kind of had a disconnect on. Was I thought it was a nice touch in the beginning because in the beginning it kind of really got me,
Right.
but then to have that whole theme continue throughout the movie was kind of heavy, right? It was kind of a
Right.
bit heavy.
Yeah. Um, the Shuri, you said you liked Shuri actress, which I did not like her at all. Um, I felt like the other actors they played their role, they did very well. Angela Bassett, she actually kicked it out the park.
Yep.
She destroyed everybody else when she was on the screen.
Hmm.
But then Shuri, she tended to slow down everything, like with her bad acting, her bad attitude, and I don't know whether they were because let's go back to the first one, right? First Black Panther movie. She was the light. She was the bright light. She gave levity and everything. She was like this childlike presence
Hmm.
that hey, this is the hope. This is the future of the Marvel universe. And she gave that vibe. In this one, they gave her a totally different vibe, and her acting was not able to hold that. And still, it was just like, ugh, I didn't need this. Like, it was not good. Then they tried to pawn it off on Riri. Riri should have been if you're gonna take Shuri off of that assignment, then you should have put it on Riri. And Riri was not able to hold it either. Right? She was not able to
Hmm.
give that hopeful, futuristic. Oh man, this is going to be the future of the MCU. She was not. However, I will give the actress points in that there's often these superhero movies that are out there and they bring in an African American woman or African American and they just don't feel African American. They just don't feel ethnic enough to have me care. This actress did. She got all the lingo right. She got the attitude right. She rolled up on people asking for this. Hey, I need this, that, and other thing. And you better have my money. That dynamite swing through swag. She had that. I love that. For people who are saying that this Mora character was, sort of like what Black Panther did when the first one. I'm glad, right? Because the last time they did try to do something like this was Shang-Chi, and
Yeah.
Shang-Chi quickly fell off the map. Nobody in the Asian community right now is claiming Shang-Chi like, hey, it did anything for them. All right,
Hmm.
nobody cares about Shang-Chi. I don't even understand why they still have a Shang-Chi comic right now. I will also give them props on hey, usually every time we have a female superhero led movie or series, one of the first things they go to is like, oh, she's because she's female, she's treated as weak and she can't do that. They didn't do that here.
Yeah.
They threw all the females right to the fire. They didn't try and have them saved by the big strong man or anything like that. They said they just let the females go in there and take their freaking lumps. I love that about this movie. However, um, some of the acting was just not plausible, not good at all, and I think it was slowed down once again because every time I rolled my eyes and hell and had that, oh my god, what's going on here? It was that Shuri actress that was on the screen when that was happening.
Hmm.
So, and my wife was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, I can't stand it. I can't do it anymore. I gotta get out of here." Like, I don't know. So, but otherwise, I think the Huarte actor, the guy that's doing it no more, he did very well. The scenes of the people, I forget what they call those people, the aqua people. They did very well. It's just that once again, even when they were in his pit, even when they were in his deep, the thing that slowed everything down was when they had Riri and Shuri doing all and trying to interact with those guys. It was like, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they just don't do the Wakanda series. Maybe they just give us a Namor series. Hopefully, I
Well,
think that's
that's
what I think
yeah.
that's where they should go.
I think the
What's
focus might switch a little bit. There's one thing that took me out of the movie a little bit, and I don't know if this happened to you too, Lucas, but there was a couple of scenes, a couple of underwater scenes, and well, I want to set props first for the language that Namor's people were speaking was Mayan, and they were actually speaking legit Mayan. And the second thing was when Shuri was underwater and she was in that big tank suit and Namor was showing her the city
Mm.
and then talking to her. It threw me off because Namor's actually just speaking English underwater, and apparently sound waves just travel, and she could understand him perfectly. And I was like, "Wait, so he should not be talking, or he should not be able to be heard, because she was in the suit, so she had air, so she could talk, so that was fine. But then when he looked at her and just started talking, and then there was a scene later on which I bought more of because he was addressing all the people, and so yeah, I'm sure that they had some way to communicate to each other. But when Namor was talking to Shuri underwater, there should have been some kind of explanation for that.
Yeah.
what's the runtime? What's the runtime on the movie?
2 hours and 40 minutes or something like that.
Oh,
It's
scratch
not
that.
it's not short, not short. So,
No.
Yeah.
but
But
I think yeah, I think this was better than Thor: Love and Thunder. So, um, a nice rebound from that turkey.
yeah.
But
Um, last notes. They definitely left it open to do Agents of Wakanda. I think that would be with Nakia heading that up. I think that would be good. Namor, however, the actor is polling very well with the females demographic. So look, they got to do something with him. Don't wait till he's old and gray to do another one.
Whoa!
With
Don't
that.
be knocking old and grey. Son of a.
Like, look, not every actor is going to be a sexy Daniel Craig, Sean Connery type of sex symbol. Sometimes you just got to get stuff in while where everything's still tight. You know what I mean? Because look, he half the film he was just in these tiny short shorts. All right, and apparently they even did some
Yeah.
CGI to the package. Okay,
CGI
uh,
magic.
yeah, CGI magic to the package. Okay, so you're not gonna wait till he's older to go. Oh no, I mean look, even Robert Downey Jr. as he got older, once again, still pulling well with the demographic, with female demographic. You're not gonna want to leave that up to years and years. Like, oh yeah, now we're gonna bring back Namor. Remember this guy? Remember this sex symbol? And it's gonna fall off. So they got to strike while the iron's hot. That's what I think.
All right. Well, let's jump from Wakanda Forever, and we're going to jump over to Disney Plus with Andor. We've got a couple of episodes that dropped since we've last spoken, and there's one left to go. So we're talking about episodes 10 and 11, and I know that Lucas is all caught up. Johnny's been watching. I'm liking it. So, Johnny, what did you think of the latest 2 episodes of Andor?
Well, I have to say that there's some good and there's some bad. So, the Prison Break episode, very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. The pace was bang on. The action scenes were spot on. The twist at the end for the Andy Serkis character was really well provided. Really
I
kind
can't
of
swim.
yeah. I was like, okay, that's going to be a bit of an issue for you. Which is it does fly a little bit in the face of why was he doing it in the first place? Because I would have guessed he saw the water coming when he landed there, so he knows the place is surrounded by water. So that kind of throws a little bit of salt in the face. But I liked it on the first viewing. The bad. The next episode suffers from Lucasfilm timing. And I know Lucasfilm's not Lucasfilm as much anymore, but what I mean is, in The Empire Strikes Back, it takes Luke the same time to become nearly a Jedi as it does to travel from Hoth to Bespin. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Right? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, no, you don't need to start when you're a kid. You don't need to learn all that crap. No, you can travel from there to there and you're a Jedi. Well done. In this episode, Andor's been on the prison planet. He's done umpteen different shifts. He then has to swim ashore somehow. He then has to steal a ship, get that ship to the holiday planet, get some new clothes, break into his hotel room, which has got new guests in, by the way, to retrieve the case that nobody else found. Are you out of your goddamn minds? Come on. I mean, I've been in hotel rooms. Hotel rooms get pretty much cleaned, lickety split. And it wasn't even hard to see. It was on top of the shower. It was there in plain view.
Mm-hmm.
So the timing of what it takes to get from there to there, it's bonkers. If you don't want to show me how Andor got from one place to another, then you don't need to show me him getting his money. If you just expect me to understand that because he's Andor, he managed to get from there to there, then you should just say, well, he's Andor, so he got all his money back. You know, the only part of that scene that made any sense was when he picks up the diary and opens up a little bit and gets a bit of the journal read to him, because that's the thing that's going to drive him to the rebellion anyway. We all know that. So, just the timing. It's just, and you think on the holiday planet, he got arrested for walking. He got and looking over his shoulder, and yet with the increased Imperial forces out there locking up anybody who puts the left foot in front of the right instead of right in front of the left, and the fact that he's a wanted criminal, he was able to do that and then still get off the planet. Come on, give your heads a shake. You know, it's this sort of lazy ideas that's spoiling the show. All the other background stuff still really, really interesting. Mon Mothma, man, just get a bank loan. You know what I'm saying? Just I don't. Yeah, she's supposed to be the spine of the rebellion at this point. I just don't get it. But no. So the jailbreak episode, fantastic. This last one, man, this last one was probably one of the worst, because it just like Andor trying to get from the prison planet. It was treading water, baby, treading water.
So I think the big issue in this show is what is the timeline, right? Because I know that this is set 5 years before Rogue One, and I know the thought was to have this show have like 5 seasons, right? I think that was the initial thought. So that's what I kind of thought, that this first season would be like 1 year in the life of Cassian Andor and moving forward towards Rogue One, and of course the introduction of many different or new characters in the show. I did kind of get the thought that the time frame is a lot longer than I actually think it is when I'm watching the show. So like the 3 episodes that he was in the prison, on the prison planet, I'm like, well, how long is this supposed to be? Was he only in here for like 3 weeks, or is it like 3 years? That's I was like, it seemed like it should have been a long time.
Well,
Well,
you have to go back and count the shifts because there
so
are.
you
Oh
can't
yeah, they
necessarily
show
do
that.
that. Well, see, you can't necessarily do that because a for certain prisons, right? And I'm talking about the underground joints, right? A tactic is, you know how they had the lights on and the lights off, right?
Yeah,
And then you go to sleep and everything. Time is taken away from you,
Yeah.
right? So you go to sleep and you thinking it's 8 hours, it might only be 3 hours.
Yep.
So so technically you can get 3 to 4 shifts all in one day. You just got to make sure those guys are sleeping on time.
Hmm.
You know, you got them working for 7, 7, 10. Shut them down, have them sleep, have them up in 2 to 3 hours, and then freaking just have them, because that's the whole purpose of those rotations, right?
Yep.
Just get them in, get them out, put them to sleep, get them a little bit of rest, put them back out there. You know.
Yeah. That's so. I mean, maybe they did that to us on the show. It made me think it was real much longer than it really was.
it feels
Um,
much longer.
but I'm enjoying the heck out of the show as far as um, the plot threads and the intricacies and the Empire and the Rebellion and the gray area, which isn't, there's just so much gray. There's no black and white anymore. It's who's right, who's wrong. We know the Empire is evil and doing a lot of really bad stuff, but so is the Rebellion at this point, where they're just like, we have to be just as bad as the Empire to get what we want, and that's just a reflection of something that we've never seen in the Empire Rebellion relationships in the past. You never saw the Rebellion be just as bad as the Empire, because you always thought of the Rebellion as being the heroes, right? And in this show, they're really going to great lengths to show you that there are no heroes, and in war, the sacrifices must be made. Luthien had a great speech in the last episode of Andor, where what the sacrifices that he made for the rebellion, which really drove home the motivations for his character and what he was willing to do to put it into the Empire. And then we've seen Mon Mothma, where she's hit to that crisis point where she's just going to flat out go over to the rebellion. And I realize that they've introduced the cousin, or we established a relationship that one of the rebels that was working with Andor is actually Mon Mothma's cousin. Is there any way that she does not die in the next episode to push Mon Mothma over the edge, right? So to me I mean, I think this is a great show, great characters, great writing, which is, whoever said anything about writing for a Star Wars show. I think it's fantastic. But and I think I told you guys, this is, for a space opera, it's not so much space as it is opera.
Right.
So
Pretty surprising for, I mean, no lightsabers, no Jedi waving stuff back and forth and so on. No Sith bad guys killing
mhm.
everybody. Just I will say that once again, and I've said this before, it was the first 1 through 8 episodes that was just killing me. I just couldn't do it. The prison break stuff, I can get that. Hey, you're in jail, locked up for a crime you didn't do. Yeah, I can get with that. Yeah, that's that's me all day. They probably should have started this whole thing with Andor in prison, and then slowly teased out why he was there, what he had to lose, what he was trying to get back to, the people that were expecting him to come back and everything, as a result of that, flesh out the other people, because otherwise you just freaking lost everybody. I didn't need that setup to the heist. There was two episodes that were just lost. I didn't need any of that.
I think it was great that Andor, they start off Andor as he kills 2 security guards, and then the next couple of episodes he's going through this heist where he's killing more people and stealing from the Empire, and then he gets busted for jaywalking. I thought that was fantastic. So
Okay.
to
See then. So, but that should have been once again they should have did the prison break joints right first, and then as you're fleshing it out, and then they probably should have did like a flashback, and then as you're flashing back, you're thinking, hey, this guy's in jail because he robbed a bank or something, right? You know, while they're doing the heist, and then when it actually comes to it, like you said, then it's revealed that he was actually just in there for jaywalking. That's probably what it should have been.
right.
But yeah, I mean, look, it's a tough episode. Like, look, thankfully they got a season 2 coming. It's just that the way that it flashes out, there's a lot of fans that they had in for the Mandalorian that are just not going to be back for Andor.
I don't know. I've got to be honest. This last episode is just so inconsistent with the idea of how long it takes to do stuff, and how dense some of the writing actually is. Professor's absolutely right. The Lucian speech about what he gives up with Sol Guerrera is fantastic. It's probably the pinnacle of the episode by far. But the moving of the pieces is beginning to wear on me. The fact that there's the writers are saying, right, we're going to show you how this bit works, but the rest of it you're just going to have to take at face value. You know, so if you're giving me 2 episodes of planning a raid, why can't I see how Andor got from the planet to the holiday? Why can't I not see Andor trying to avoid the Imperial troops to get his case back? Why do I have to just take it for granted that he was able to do that on the planet on which he got arrested for, where he's known as a criminal? How did he get his ID? How did he get his fake ID? You set all that problem up when he escaped his home planet in the first instance, when they had the technology thing, they had to get him a false ID and stuff. So you've already set that up once. Why can't... Who does he speak to? Who did he speak to get that? There's this whole grey area of detail that you just wash over in order to get your set pieces down. And then some of the set pieces, like the speech, fantastic. Absolutely. Some of the set pieces are pants. I'm getting to the point now where I don't care about the guy who's hunting him down. I don't care about it. 3 episodes ago, I was all for him. I was like, go on, son, you do your work. Now, I'm like, he finds him, he doesn't, who cares? You know?
Well, so it sounds to me like you think that they set the pace, but then like hit the fast forward button on you
they'll give you some details, and then they'll fast forward to the other stuff, and you're like, well, I get you've got to bridge it into like 45 minutes or whatever it is. I get that, but don't dawdle on the stuff that I'm not interested in, and then, you know, because trying to break into somewhere must have been. Imagine there's not been a lot of space in this, apart from the space battle in this last episode, I suppose. But how about Andor trying to break into get to the planet? How do you get in there? Did you avoid TIE fighters? Was there a Star Destroyer there? Or is it just a matter of it's a free planet, you just... Yeah? I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but for me, I just think, just come on, man. If you're going to give me the details, give me the details.
Roger.
Well, I'm sure that next episode, we'll be talking about the season wrap up of Andor and whether or not the whole show is worth it so far. So let's take a break right now, and we'll come back and we'll talk some comics. All right, make sure to check out our sister show, The Definitive Crusade, starring that guy Johnny, and all about DC Comics. But
Yes,
this is about
DC.
Marvel Comics
DC is still doing comics. Might not have many movies going
for
on,
now.
but still doing comics.
For now. All right. So so let's jump into this week's offerings. We get a few books that we want you to check out. And hey, let's talk about Captain America and the Winter Soldier special, spinning out of Captain America, the one starring Steve Rogers. I can't remember because is it Sentinel of Liberty? That's
I
the
think
that's
so.
the one we're talking
Yeah.
about. And this is brought to you by Jackson Lanning.
So did I get ejected? Oh yeah, okay. No,
Nope, we're good. We're
we
good.
are doing Winter Soldier. Okay.
This is so written by Jackson Lanning and Colin Kelly. Penciler is Kev Walker. Inks by J.P. Meyer. Colorist is KJ Diaz. Letters by VC's Joe Caramagna. And if you don't like it, blame Caitlin Linvet, Alana Smith, and CB Sobolski. Those are the editors. So this is spinning right out of Captain America: Sentinel of Liberty, the storyline going over there, and we have Bucky, Winter Soldier, has joined this shadow organization called the Outer Circle that is controlling the flow of history from the shadows. And this is kind of this one shot is basically the history of the Outer Circle. We're introduced to the players on the board, and think of this as kind of like the if you remember Grunwald's run on Captain America, the Commission, which is kind of like the inside politics kind of group that was kind of running Captain America. This is kind of almost like the Illuminati, right? But these are all new characters that you've never heard of. And I imagine that coming up in the Captain America run, he'll probably be running into all these people. But these people look like just regular people that are just happen to be over 100 years old. So that's going to be something that I want to see them kind of explore, like how did all these people survive to be 100 years old and they look like they're not aging. So I'll introduce you to, so there's this Princip, Mr. Princip, can't remember his first name, Gavrilo or something like that. He's the guy that he meets Fortunov, who is the leader of the Outer Circle, and he has pledged himself to, I guess, bring down the Outer Circle, and in the end, really is the one that is kind of recruiting Winter Soldier into this group. There's Etienne Argent, he's the world's first billionaire. Ika Agboje, who's a Wakandan engineering vanguard, and Anna, who's an artist. So it's kind of a weird eclectic group, right? And I'm interested in finding out more about them. The one thing that threw me off a little bit initially when reading this is Fortunov. And if does anybody remember another Fortunov from Marvel?
Dr.
Yes,
Doom.
is that not Dominic Fortune?
There you go. Dominic Fortune is last name is actually, it was Dominic Fortunov, right? So
Hey,
I'm
check me
thinking I'm thinking that this might be an ancestor, but who knows? I don't really know. And given the writers at Marvel these days, I think that maybe they thought Fortunov, oh wow, no one's ever used that name before.
Oh,
Right. So basically this book just basically kind of fleshes out everybody, kind of gives you the inner workings of the Outer Circle, and then at the end basically recruits Winter Soldier to be in their group. But we know that Winter Soldier's entering the group to destroy them from the inside, which, if these guys are all like 100 years old, I kind of think that they would probably know this already, right? So
probably.
yeah, you'd think. So anyway, this book ends really with Anna, the art person, basically recruiting Winter Soldier into the group, even after he gets into a fight with the other members, or more of a one-sided fight, right? He kind of fires his guns at everybody, and they just kind of the bullets disappear into nothingness. But anyway, it's a kind of a weird book at the end. I don't really know where it's going. I don't really know if I liked it, but I'm interested in seeing where the book is going, because it's this one shot is actually establishing what we think really is like a new status quo for Winter Soldier, as being part of this outer circle, and part of bringing Peggy Carter back into the fold here. Which Peggy Carter is a kind of throwing me off a little bit, guys. So help me out with Peggy Carter. Peggy Carter is supposed to be like 100 years old too, right?
Right.
But she's not aging either, and I think I might have missed that somewhere, where she comes back and she's
Maybe she's a scroll.
I missed a couple of things. Look, reading this book.
It's one of the things that I'm like reading this book, and I'm like, okay, so everybody in this book is 100 years old, and like so everybody in the outer circle is old, because they show them all in 1922, and now here we are 100 years later, and here they are. Winter Soldier's 100 years old, because he's Bucky, and so Peggy Carter, who was also around in World War II, she's running around too, and now at the end we're supposed to have this idea that these guys are all kind of playing chess, right? They're playing chess with these live pieces, so they're almost like the Games Master and the Avengers. So I just, they're playing games, and at the end, Winter Soldier says Sharon Carter to Captain America, which is like that's the chess piece move. So now we have Sharon Carter back too. Now Peggy and Sharon, Peggy is Sharon's aunt, and Peggy actually looks younger than Sharon.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a little confused, and maybe I missed something in the storytelling of Captain America back in the day. But how is everybody feels like they took the super soldier serum?
Yeah, the one. Yeah, that's the same question. How many survived Krypton blowing up?
It seems like they are just introduced characters for their own good. But
for me, I'm with you on this. I mean, I had to read this book twice, so thanks for that. Appreciate that. Really,
you're welcome, Johnny.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
Because I got to the point where Peggy's there. I'm like, that's Peggy? And she's been going to Black Widow school like a lot.
I thought it was Black Widow at first shot, right?
Yeah,
I thought it was Black Widow, and then I was like, wait, no, that's Peggy Carter?
I was like, okay. The start at the top, the cover is, I don't know if John Romita can sue anybody for stealing his style, but just saying. Another super secret cabal intent of playing with the world. Hail the outer circle. So, no.
We call ourselves the outer circle because the inner circle was taken already.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, it's all right. Another fantastic Marvel mistitled ploy, because Captain America doesn't appear in this book apart from one back in 1942 panel. Story-wise, you know what? I'm a little bit sick of these whole idea of these secret cabals that have been in existence for years and years and years, and nobody's ever heard of them or done with it. I understand the logic of making Bucky part of the circle, because he's the revolution point of the star. Could do without the star, the imagery of the star being the same as Captain America's shield. To be honest, I know that people think that's really clever, but to me, it's like there should be some things that mean hope and mean everything that's good in the world, and Captain America's shield is one of those things. I just, I hate to see that thing tainted every time, but it's an old trope. People use it left, right, and center. I don't understand the book, not story wise. I just don't understand why it follows on from Sentinel of Liberty and then is actually, then you have to read Sentinel of Liberty number 7 to see the rest of the story. If that was the point, why didn't you just put this in Sentinel of Liberty? Just make it easy for the fans. You know what I'm saying? Why do I have to spend yet more money in my hard earned? We're all going through a bloody crisis of living, cost of living crisis thing going on, and you want me to spend more money on a book that doesn't give me anything? Really? Thanks, Marvel. How many times can they try and make Bucky a good guy? How many times is Bucky going to fall and be a bad guy? I don't know. It's been there, done that. That's on that one, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Lucas, what did you think?
As a rebut to the machines, like good guy, bad guy, a soldier is just a soldier. There's no when you get it out there, there's no time to think, oh man, am I the good guy here? Am I the bad guy? If you got that much time, then you shouldn't be out there in the field. Just there's no actual thing. You got
You
the
know he's
mission.
he's not he's not at war, right? So what you call a soldier who's not at war? He's not fighting anything.
Well, then they shouldn't have. You should. It's like sending a hammer to swat a fly, man. Then you don't send a soldier in there just because, right? Um,
So that's where I've been going wrong. That's where all these hammer holes in my wall have come from. Goddamn flies.
you know,
Son of a. Can I use a hammer on a spider though, right?
The
Yeah,
fly's
that's
still
what
buzzing
that is.
around.
Yeah,
uh, it is what it is. Like you guys have really good points. Like, okay, we got another secret cabal. They're they're claiming that they can do this and everything, and then the main point is that there's supposed to be this one foil, and that's the revolution against, and he's called the Star Point. The start point that we can,
Mhm.
you know, stops every. So it's sort of like the Killer Among Us game, right? Right, where everybody's supposed to be doing their thing, but you got that one guy who's supposed to be going amongst them and and trying to stop them from being able to do what they're doing. That's literally the whole book of what's going on, and we're supposed to sit through this and give our how much was this $4.99 our $5 to watch a in color Killer Among Us which is another freaking cabal, another secret society with no point. There's no. It would be interesting if there was an actual war going on that we could try and see like how they do their things and how they're trying to manipulate everything. But no, all we saw was they sent Sharon the Carters after everything to do the four and to do this and that and everything. I'm out. I'm done with this. Like look, why aren't they moving on to the new kids on the block, right? You got several projects coming out, right? You got Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur project coming out. You got a Riri project coming out. You got supposedly you got some Wakanda stuff. Why didn't they focus on this instead of just showing us the same stuff of Captain America and Winter Soldier that nobody is asking for right now? If you were going to do Captain America and the Winter Soldier, how about you do something that's actually world relevant? There is an actual conflict in Europe going on right now that I would love to see how he was going to handle. I would love to see how the writers think he's going to handle it. Instead, what is he doing? He's mucking around with these centenarians all day. Man, miss me with this. Give me my $5 back in my time back, Marvel, on this one.
I can't believe Lucas and I agree on the book. Oh my
All
god.
right. Let's
Now the
jump.
circle's working. Oh no.
Let's jump because I want to give Lucas enough time for his 10-minute warning. Um, let let's jump to
Oh,
Gambit. Gambit number 5.
Oh man, that's
Johnny,
me.
this is your pick.
God
Uh,
damn it. All right, so this is
Chris Claremont back in Marvel.
so yeah, so this is Chris Claremont, Sid Kochan as art, Espen Grundagen on colours, Clayton Cowles does his best, Tom Auskachowski lettering, imitation going on there. I picked this mainly because Chris Claremont and Marvel have been doing this for a while to go back and do like retro stories in between issues. I think I last saw it on the symbiote Spider-Man series.
Yeah.
I think they did one with Silver Surfer and Thanos as well.
Yep.
This book's bonkers. It's bonkers from yeah. Admittedly, it
yeah.
doesn't help the fact that this is the final issue and we never looked at any of the other four. But there's a shed load going on, a shed load, but it reads like Claremont's X-Men in certain places. They forget to put the accent on Gambit in his first panel of the book, which frustrated me a little bit. Other than that, it's all meshery and all the usual stuff. You can't do a lot with it because it's set between established events. So any sense of dread, threat, or whatever doesn't matter. So that's why they have to introduce new characters to do the dying and the threatening and all that sort of stuff. Problem is, do you actually care about these new characters? If you
No.
don't care about it, you've wasted your time. For me, this was a bit kitsch. You know what I mean? It's a little bit old school. It's a little bit, yeah, remember when comics were like this? Other than that, it was pretty much a throwaway. I picked it because there was hardly anything else to pick. So there you go. That's me done.
I will say
That's quick.
the art was kind of gnarly,
Yeah.
Mm.
right? It's what if I'm gonna pick up an X-Men book, that's what has been missing from the old X-Men stuff before we did the X-Men Red and all this other stuff. It was like, hey, this X-Men world should be ugly and nasty and dirty to the ground. They brought that into this Gambit book. Um, Unfortunately, like you said, it's the last issue, and I would enjoy some of this stuff to actually spread out to the rest of the X Men. Let's get back into the fighting. Let's get back to the nasty, dirty stuff with the art and everything. And let's make it. It's not realistic, but I mean, look, let's do this. The story wise, like I don't know where we're supposed to go from here. I don't know why they had to go all the way back to when Storm was a child. But
Well, that was a storyline thing back in the day
yeah.
when Storm went through the Siege Perilous and she came back as a kid.
I wonder if they're going to start doing lots of different Siege Perilous type events now that they've
Well,
opened up the door a little
this
bit.
is what I think is funny because this is how I picture this in my head. As Marvel goes to Chris Claremont and says, "Hey, do you want to come back and write X-Men?" And he said, not in the timeline you're writing it."
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to write you've set up some crap. I don't want to play in that sandbox. How about I go back and write stories from when I was writing X-Men and I'll give some spins on what I would do, and that to me made some sense. But reading this book kind of just pulls you right back right into the 80s and 90s Chris Claremont, and when it took you a half an hour to read a book, and kind of you had to have your kind of Chris Claremont degree to be able to keep up with all the storylines and everything that he had kind of just mishmash and pull out of his butt and go back to, let's go back 10 years to this plot thread that I dropped, and now I'm picking up and hope you can catch up. So this felt like this. The one good thing that I like about it is that he has no problem with just creating new characters, which people in Marvel just don't do anymore. So he creates some villains and some side characters that who knows, maybe they'll show up again, and maybe people will like. But it did remind me of how 90s Gambit is. He's just so 90s X-Men. It's just I can't get over it. So that's a character that hasn't updated in 30 years, and maybe they should. So
Nah.
yeah, no, okay, all right. So this is what do we call it on old timers? It's of its time.
It's of its time. Woo!
All right, so
I'm getting that put on a t-shirt. I am so getting
all right, let's jump to Blade.
Nope, let's jump to the 2-minute warning. So
Oh, let's drop Blade. Okay,
Thank
you didn't
God
miss
for that.
anything.
let's drop it. All right.
You didn't miss
So
anything.
in
Let's go.
non-Marvel news, Star Trek issue number 1, a 9.6. I mean, it's not even like perfect, not even close to perfect. 9.6 got $45,000 at a heritage auction.
You gotta love those Gold Key comics.
Really?
This is one that 2 years ago I was like, hey guys, you might want to pay attention to this one. It's I'm seeing copies out there for $30, $40, $50, non-CGC. You might want to pick up those Ross. And here we go, 2022, $45,000. Before then, a 9.6 sold at 20,000 back in 2019. All right, so there's still Raws out there. They're not going to be in good shape, but I guarantee you what, once people see this number, they're going to start picking those up for, it's going to, I guarantee you the price is going to freaking rise up to like $1,000, 2,000, even for shitty ones, right? And why do I bring this up? Because hey, it's a long storied franchise, and here's the Marvel news. Marvel has been putting a lot of money into Doctor Who, giving them studio space, giving them access to actors and everything. So this is one thing you might want to pay attention to. The first appearance of Doctor Who in a comic was TV Comics Weekly in issue number 644. However, in its own titled comic, which was Doctor Who Weekly #1, which came out in 1979. The one to keep an eye out for if you're buying it on the secondary market is you got to make sure that that free transfer, which is like a tattoo, you got to make sure that's in there. Don't if it doesn't have the tattoo, don't get it unless it's like really, really, really cheap.
Hmm.
I used
Johnny,
to
did
have
you
that.
have this when you were a kid?
I used to have the Marvel comic in the corner there where he's lifting his hat next to the TARDIS.
Yes,
You
sir.
really
So that came out in 1980. This Doctor Who Weekly came out in 1979.
the Marvel comic reads brilliantly, and I
Hmm.
think it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. And I could never ever find where the next part of it was going to be. I didn't realize at the time it's like a Marvel Spotlight type book. They're just doing random things. It doesn't follow on from anywhere. But the art was really spot on. Really liked it.
Yeah. So here we go. I mean, that is what it is. So I've always said, hey, all these little franchises, there's a comic book out there somewhere. Try and pick those up, especially for the cheap, like, no more than
I,
10, 15
Are we
bucks.
gonna get a Doctor Who land at Disney?
That
No.
would be interesting. That would be awesome. Because I will say this, at the Baltimore Con that I went to maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, there were a lot of people cosplaying as Doctor Who, either
Hmm.
as like the dialects or Doctor Who. Now there was like now there's that female blonde Doctor Who. They were cosplaying as her. They even had the little robotic dog running around. So Doctor Who does have a fan base here in America that's good, that might be interesting to pick it up. So that's it.
Interesting.
Uh, Free comic book day. Make sure you pay attention to the titles that are coming out because people missed the last one, which was there was a 1 to 1,000 ratio book that was out there. It was the Avengers X-Men book, and that had the first appearance of Blade's daughter, which is like now a $500 book. So just
Wow.
pay attention to that stuff.
So it was a free book, and now it's $1,000.
Not quite $1,000 yet, but it's a five. It's a so so the price to get all that stuff would have been like around 250, but it's rose to like $500 now because nobody got it.
I
Nobody
got
got it.
the I got the Spider-Man one, the one that talks about the dark web or whatever it's called.
Mm.
How much is that worth?
I don't even know. I don't even know
Uh,
because right now there's no. I didn't see any first appearances in that one. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I do know that as far as the Blade's daughter, they have a comic book series coming out, and there's talks that maybe she's either going to show up in the Riri Williams thing or the Blade thing. We don't know when she's going to show up in the MCU, but we know there's definitely plans for her to show up at some point.
cool.
Who's that?
Uh,
Who's that character in the back on that Avengers cover? Is that Cyclops? He's been kind of running around as like a because Cyclops is supposed to be dead, right? So
mm, Good point. Good point. I guess we'll find out when it comes out.
that's weird. And there's way too many X-Men on that cover as opposed to Avengers. Just saying.
Mm.
In fact, you could argue that
Uh,
all X-Men, because Captain America must be a mutant by now. Sure, it would.
Oh, because he got resurrected. Yeah,
yes, sir.
they never
Uh,
explained that, by the way.
Have we had
uh,
Avenger? Have we had the Omega issue yet of that?
Yeah,
yes,
it
sir.
was last week.
Was it? Oh, I'm going to go check now.
Silk is even closer to coming to fruition. They still have not cast the actress to it yet. We got a little bit more clarification what's going to happen with that. MGM Plus is paying for it. We don't know where it's streaming at first or whatever. And that's fine. Um, but we of course know that because Netflix has that Sony agreement that it'll probably go from MGM Plus and Epix to Netflix before eventually settling down with Disney Plus. And not only are they doing Silk thing, but they're also planning on doing Spider Society, which is supposed to be the society that fights against the Wasp Society that they actually had a series within the last 2 months or so that they're trying to remind people of who they are and everything. The first appearance of the Spider Society as it makes Spider-Man number 30 from 2001, I believe this was, or 2011, I forget which one it was. But the problem with this is we don't know which characters they're going to use in the Spider Society. So that's the difficulty. So don't buy this until we know for sure. I took a look at some of the stuff that's hot within the last 7 days. Yoda #1 that's supposed to come out this week. And Amazing Spider-Man number 13. That was the first appearance of the Gold Goblin.
I can't believe they're bringing a Gold Goblin
Terrible.
out. It's like,
Terrible.
I mean,
Since
I've really been enjoying the Amazing Spider-Man run, but man, the Gold Goblin, come on!
you got to have all the goblins of all the rainbow, including gold and platinum. Look, I trust me, there will be a platinum gold goblin at some point. Rhodesian goblin, and all that other crazy stuff.
Where's that cover of the White Queen from?
Sins of Sinister number 1, which is not out yet, is done by Art Germ. It had a very heavy pre-sale, pre-FOC selling at 68 copies within the last 7 days.
Johnny's
Very
like, take
shocking.
my money.
I am absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Secondary
baby.
to that is the Yoda pre-sales. So it's 68. So it kind of tied with Sinister, Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 2, which was by Stephanie Hans. And keeping an eye out for these covers, these special Vecchio covers. There's Amazing Spider-Man number 21, as well as the number 17. I don't know what's going on with these, but I do know there's a 1/100 black and white for both of those, and people have a lot of interest in those. Okay. As far as FOC, Avengers number 64, there is a 1/100 art germ. That's the one to the far right, and that art germ to the left.
I don't like that left-hand cover, just because they're doing Hank Pym dirty. Why is Black Panther on that cover? It's supposed to be Avengers 4 recreation. Where's Giant Man? They put Black Panther on there instead. What's up?
I got Namor on there.
Namor was on that original Avengers 4 cover.
And then there's this Steve Horley wraparound cover.
That's a not bad cover. I like that.
I'm glad that Avengers Forever is finishing.
That's my old school West Coast Avengers lineup.
Here you go. The original of Captain America for the Captain America Sentinel of Liberty.
That's a homage cover on the left.
Captain Marvel number 45, the Aka variant.
Captain Marvel's been absolutely tickety-boo for the last few, and bringing the Brood back's just been spot on.
Yeah.
Oops. The Gold Goblin number 3. There's a 1/25 by Frank, but I think speculators will actually want to pick up that one in the middle, which is the J. Scott Campbell.
It's the homage issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Again, I love J. Scott Campbell. I really do. I think he's fantastic. I've got a lot of his stuff. I buy a lot of his stuff for the covers. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying Gold Goblin. I'm done.
Do you like how it says 399 cents on that? It's kind of funny.
No.
Joe Fixit, 1/25 by Sonar. Apparently people really love these window shade variants, and it's got its own little niche of people just collecting the window shades.
Is that written by Peter David? Because that's what he's been doing pretty much, is like going back and touching his old stuff.
Well, that's a good question. I don't have that info on me right now.
Sounds a bit pervy. I'm going back to touch my old stuff.
Planet Hulk World Breaker number 3. The only thing I see about this is that it does mention these green kids that are running around. I don't know whether those were in number 2, so I got to do some research and where did these green kids come from?
See, when a green person loves a green person very, very much, you have a special green kiss.
Well, this is really going to show me that the House of Ideas has run out of ideas, because this is just rehashing all the old stuff, all the old crap.
Scarlet Witch number 1. There's a 1/100 by Tal. That's the one in the middle. But there's also a regular cover for that has the trade dress on there if people like it, but they don't want to spend the big money on that one. The one to the far right, that's by Adam Hughes. That's a homage. It's also open order.
I love the Adam Hughes cover.
Yeah,
absolutely. No relation, by the way.
So there is also a Casa Grande Woman of Marvel variant. I don't have the cover art for that one, and I've seen there's also the Demonized Okazaki. I've actually seen the cover art for that, but I can't share it. Otherwise they'll take away my access to shit.
Really have 9 different covers for Scarlet Witch.
Yes, and I got to read it again, but I don't see any first appearances that are of note in that one.
Weird.
I don't get it why they decided to go this big on that one. Secret Invasion number 3. I do like the one to the far right. It's called the Anatomy Low variant.
Everything old is new again.
more homage variants with the one to the left, which is the Spider-Man and Spider-Man number 4. Um, the 1 in 25 Ramos variant. I'm kind of weirded out. Like I don't quite understand what's going on in the cover because you got all the other Spider characters, but if you look at the top left, that's Moreland. He's
Yeah,
supposed to be the vampire that kills them all.
Yeah,
yeah,
Marlon's
yeah,
So
Marlon's a good guy.
yeah.
He jumped
yeah,
into the.
but hunger is hunger, man. Look, I love my I when I lived on a farm, I loved those animals that go quite dearly. But when it was time to eat, look,
You know,
piggy, go on the table. I mean, that's just what it was.
Yeah, but inspired he joined Earth 616 to warn Peter Parker of what was going on. So that's the story from there. He's probably
I'm
trying to
sure he's
save them. He's probably trying to save them so he can eat them later. Of course, you know.
of course, yeah.
Have them all to himself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Star Wars number 30, there's a
Oh,
1 in 25 Stephanie Hans. That's the one to the far right. I do love the one in the middle.
mm,
The
cool.
left
And
hand
then,
covers the winner. The left hand covers.
yes, sir, that is the Raza variant.
That's awesome.
X Force number 36. There is a 1 in 25 by Soyan. There's a Klein Stormbreakers variant and a Liefeld classic homage.
You could, as much as I love that, the homage cover, you would not get me buying a Leafield comic.
That's
No way.
Liefeld drew that. Liefeld didn't draw that.
It says that's what they're calling it, the Liefeld homage.
He didn't draw that. I don't know who it is, but it's not. It's
Right.
not Liefeld.
I kind of agree because if you look to the far right on the wall, there's somebody's no, that's his initials, Rob D. Liefeld, right? He's got his
I
name on it.
I can't see it, but anyway,
Yeah, yeah, it's like
I'll believe it when I see
right
it.
around
You'll have
here.
to show me it. You'll have to blow it up or something so I can see it. But
Yeah. Oops. And X-Men Red number 10. There's a 1 in 25 by McCone. And once again, the Antioch Lead Demonized, which I do not have here. And then there's a Daughterman Classic homage. All right, stuff that's coming out this week during the Thanksgiving period. You want to keep an eye out for this one, The Amazing Spider-Man number 14. Um, most of these are already sold out at the distributor level. That means they cannot reorder through Marvel. And I guess it's because it's the appearance of the new villain. I'm not sure what her name is yet, but just keep
Could
an
it be
eye out for that
Hallows
one.
Eve? Do you think?
Could be.
Hobgoblina.
Could it be? Oh no, it's the pumpkin patch.
Oh, that sounds like a bad porn hub title, you know.
Well, hey, search for it later on your own time.
Doc Strange. There's supposed to be some new characters in this book that's coming out.
I've been buying this book, but I'm so behind. I haven't read it since the first issue. It's a shame. I really like Jed McKay's, but it's getting to a point now where I'm so far behind. I don't know if I can get caught up.
This looks like a one shot.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a one shot, but I do know. So this being there's supposedly being new characters in there. If you look close enough and take enough time and do enough LSD, you can actually see the new characters are on the cover, right there. Um, Fantastic Four, number 52, which is the first appearance of Black Panther. They're doing a facsimile.
Good call.
I know this is not Marvel. However, this is distributed. This is IDW
That's a great
distributed
job.
by Penguin Random House.
That's the
which is
last issue of GI Joe, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Number 300.
Yep.
So you guys might just want to pick that one up.
I
And
saw that cover a bit ago, and I thought it was great.
yes, and then there is a 150 that's out there.
So no more GI Joe after that issue.
No, they're gonna move to another publisher. I'm not sure
Oh.
who. Was it Dark Horse maybe? Or
Is Larry Hama still helming it?
Well, I'm not sure. I got to do some research and figure out who's taking it over. Star Wars Yoda number 1. I think I covered this before. There's a 1 in 100. However, the one that has the most sales so far is the cover A. So that's when you want what? X-Men Daughterman trading card variant. I don't know what's going on with Firestar. Firestar has been hot lately. So sold out right now is that one to the far right, that trading card variant. And that, gentlemen, was your 2-minute warning in 25 minutes.
It's good. It's good. I'd rather talk what's coming up than talk about Blade. So
Yeah. Fair shout.
all right. Well, and everybody, I hope you guys have a good holiday. Johnny, I know you're working, so I'm saying no Thanksgiving for you, but
Well,
we're gonna have a nice Thanksgiving. I'll eat some turkey for you.
thanks.
Send it in the mail. By the time it gets there, it'll be turkey wine.
All right. So
Turkey wine. Yum,
the
yum.
next time we get together, we will be in the final month of 2022 and barreling towards 2023. And I think for the first time in a long time, we won't have anything Disney Plus to talk about except for that last episode of Andor, and no movies coming up. And who knows? All
We
right.
might have to pick another comic book.
We might have to talk more comics. I don't know if I'm ready for that.
4 comics in the pod.
I'm not ready. All right. You guys enjoy your week, and we will see you again in a fortnight.
Adios.